welcome to Black Coffee Conversations. It's all things relationship. I'm Tanya,
And I'm Tiffany.
and we have a special guest today.
Yes, we do.
We have Kim from WVOL's The Kim and O Show. Welcome, Kim.
Thank you.
We're so excited to have you.
I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, what are we going to talk? We're going to really be real today because
Yes.
we were even talking before the cameras started rolling. Okay, and we can talk forever about this.
Mhm.
And that is just dating in your late 40s and 50s and how we're navigating through that, the ups, the downs, all of that.
Mhm.
So, what do you have to say about this dating pool today?
Oh, it reminds me of Aretha Franklin's song, Your Love is Like a Seesaw. That's what it reminds me of. Up, down, all around like a seesaw. That's what it reminds me of, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Same here. I mean, I think, I was, and you all, we were laughing because, we want to be truthful. We want to
Yeah.
be authentic. And I can get on here and say, well, there's a lot of great men, there's a lot of great women. But the truth is, there's a lot of frustration because I'm like, why can't we find each other then?
Mhm.
Why are so many of us frustrated, men included,
Yes,
because we hear
absolutely.
men say the same thing, and I'm like, well, heck, we're frustrated too.
Mm-hmm.
How do we resolve it?
I'm just going to put something out there
Uh-oh,
for us
okay.
to chew on.
Okay.
I think that you are going to attract
Mhm.
men on the level of healing that you are on yourself.
Okay.
That's really good.
Okay.
I love
Mhm.
that, yeah.
And you will also outgrow people depending on your level of healing.
Right. Right.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
And we're all going through our own journey, right, of healing, whether you've been divorced, the heartbreak, whatever. We're all on the journey, but I think that's like the journey is continuous. And can you get with a person and kind of take that journey together, right?
Let me tell you.
Explain. Yes.
Let me tell you what I mean.
Okay.
So
Mhm.
this has been tried and true tested in my life.
Okay.
So I had a pattern ever since I was young, even a teenager, of
Mhm.
attracting men who had issues with their mother.
Mm-hmm.
And I think because I'm very nurturing and very loving and have a high capacity for just empathizing for you, whether you call that, there's a word, an empath.
Empath,
Yeah.
They
yes.
call it an I hate
Exactly.
these terms
Yes.
though. I
Yes.
don't consider
Yeah.
myself to fit all of the categories
Right.
of an empath because I do have great boundaries and most empaths don't according to the books.
Right.
But I'll say this. I think that sometimes people are looking to fill the deficit,
Mhm.
and that's why you kind of get yoked with that person because you are feeling a need for them that they don't have.
Mm-hmm.
So when I healed my people pleasing, because I was not getting it in return, it was not being reciprocated.
Right.
When I decided boundaries are going to be how I survive in this world, I obviously attract this kind of guy.
Mm-hmm.
And when it comes, you think it's love. You think, oh my gosh, they've been waiting on me their whole life. Their little piece of sunshine. And that feels good, right? But you never get your needs met.
Right.
You never get and so once you decide, I'm worth more than this. Like,
Right.
God didn't put me here to be a doormat for people. Not that you are, but just
Mhm.
saying.
Mm-hmm.
Once you heal that, the caliber of guys that come into your space that you begin to attract has to change. So I'm only saying that to say
Mhm.
it always starts with your level of awareness, your level of healing,
Right.
what you are going to actually be attracted to and have chemistry with.
Right.
And
True.
that's interesting because
Mhm.
women tend to be nurturers anyway. So
Right.
Yeah.
we tend to be the ones that are giving and giving
Mhm.
and giving. But I like what you had to say because that's so true. Like typically if you're a quote unquote empath, you're
Mhm.
often drawn to a narcissist. And that's,
Mhm.
and it's funny because that's the thing that you want to always try to avoid. Like I
Yep.
could never,
Yes.
but you seem to find yourself intertwined with that narcissist. You find out 6 months later, oh my goodness, here I go again. Someone who has an anxious attachment style is typically going to be attracted to someone who has an avoidant attraction style.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And so,
Yeah.
there's something about filling in the gap for whatever
it
reason.
is.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a balance thing. And for the anxious attachers, it's a feeling, a root feeling of unworthiness. Like I have to work for it. I always have to be like, it has to be just out of reach and I have to be chasing it down. And once I get it, I win, you know. And it's just, I think, realizing that you don't have to be stuck in those patterns is how you change it.
But you have to be very honest with yourself.
You do.
And I think oftentimes that's what we're not willing to do is really take a good look in the mirror because you see the progress that you made. So it's like, ooh, I healed because I healed in one area. But oftentimes the relationships that we get into often are those mirrors that shine the light in our eyes. It's like, ooh, maybe there's another part of me that's not 100% healed or something else that I have to work on.
Yeah. And from a spiritual standpoint, they talk about familiar spirits being stumbling blocks. Sometimes it is a familiar energy that keeps showing up that triggers that part of you that you haven't worked on. And I feel like the devil in my life is always any place I stay stuck. Wherever I stay stuck, that's exactly where he is. So even if you attract someone, and it's okay to be who you are, but let's say you meet someone new and you have this amazing chemistry with him and oh my gosh, you fall in love, you think he's the one. Compare it to the lessons you've learned in the past. Is it holding up to the truth that you know based on what God has shown you from those past relationships? If it's not, you got to cut it. It doesn't matter how you feel about it. God has already showed you what the level up is. So either you can stay stuck or you can go off of or stand on what God has already shown you.
Yeah. And to me, stuck is finding that same person in a different suit. Right? So for everyone that you get with, you're like, okay, this one's different. Only to find out, ooh,
they're the same.
It's the same. So usually that's an indication you haven't really evolved as much or healed as much as you.
You always be cute though.
But are you all meeting? You're dating. Where are you meeting? These potential suitors. I mean, where are we? You're talking about like I understand all of that, but where are you meeting them? Because I honestly, I used to do the online dating. I've really kind of gotten tired of that and put that to the side.
Do you enjoy that? Because I think that's a strategy that could be useful if it's something that you feel well with.
I feel like I've had really good, I've met some really great people online, but it can be very overwhelming. You can get very frustrated because I think I swipe left more than right. And I don't know. I think I'm really at a place where I want to meet someone organically. And I don't know. I'm just really kind of frustrated with it.
Tanya, putting yourself out there because at least it's a strategy because dating culture is on, it is economics. So at least you are out there,
making an effort.
Because where else are you going to meet them? I
got a 2% chance of meeting him in the wild, and I'm like, okay, well, I'm just gonna risk
in the wild, in the jungle.
Yes.
Welcome to the jungle.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, if not online, then where at this age? When we were younger, you would of course have clubs, parties, get-togethers, right? Where would we in our late 40s and 50s really meet them?
And I always think Greek people have a lot of chances
in other cities there are other
with
venues,
the Divine Nine culture. Is there a lot of opportunity to meet guys, especially Black men who are professional and thriving in their careers? It seemed like, because I'm not Greek, so I'm not in those circles. But I see y'all partying all the time.
I think so, but and maybe I don't go to a lot of parties, but we do. I mean, there is the potential there, but I think
go.
And you know what? I think that you're right, and I think we've talked about this. A lot of times I'm not going and I'm not getting myself in an atmosphere or an environment where there is a potential person, or I can potentially have that open myself up to possibly meeting someone.
Because
It is basically home,
yes.
work,
Mhm.
and that is probably a big part of my problem,
That's
which
what
is
I was
why I
going
went to
to
online
say.
dating.
Because often in our 40s and 50s, we find a lot of women who are obsessed with our careers.
Yes,
And
yes.
so
I'm
oftentimes,
tired.
yes, and in this day and time, there are more opportunities to work from home. So
Right.
ladies are not getting out as much as they used to. So I did see someone post a while back, ladies, how are you going to meet someone if you're sitting at home all the time, right?
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
you need to get out there
You're
and do
right.
some of the things that you love to do. Like she mentioned
Right.
Greek, but
And you're right. I mean, with the
dancing
Divine
or-
Nine, you're right.
Yeah.
There's a lot of potential there. There's a lot of groups, on Facebook. There are a lot of different events that we hold. So you're right. And I mean, just the sisterhood and the brotherhood, all of that. You're exactly right. I'm probably just not putting myself out there.
And I think it's a lot of women that are stuck in not going back out. And maybe we could shed some light on maybe how we got here. Because, I mean, COVID sat a lot of people down, obviously. But I think once you've been married and maybe raised your family, you don't have the same drive to go to all of these events
Right.
or put yourself out there to meet men. But
And if you do, you're just kind of going to just really, I don't know.
we feel
Just to hang
safer
out.
behind our
Right.
phones.
Just, not
Swiping.
really to meet
We
anyone.
feel safe
Yes.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's not
But
working.
we don't even get out to the grocery store anymore. We're ordering Instacart
Exactly.
and things like so.
Yeah.
Because you
Yeah.
can meet them in the grocery store. There's plenty
You
of men that
can.
go shopping.
And we
the
were just
gym.
laughing because I said if I don't meet them at the Kroger pickup, I'm not going to meet them. I'm not going to meet them.
Yeah.
And I think it's just I don't know. And I like I said, I did take a break from online dating just because of the frustration that I had. And I know you were talking about how you had seen how some men are frustrated.
Well, you know
with-
where I practice? I practice at the gym because the gym is such a raw place where people are in there, they're checking each other out, like, they're doing their thing, but you're still kind of self-aware of who's looking at you. And sometimes I practice just flirting, just, being very friendly and very extroverted at the gym because I think that it helps you not disconnect with that part of yourself that knows how to share vibes with people.
Have you met people? Have you
At the gym?
At the gym.
Yeah, I've met a few guys. I mean, nobody that is notable, but yeah, I've definitely make.
Yeah.
I mean, and sometimes it's just a compliment, like
Right,
you looking
right,
fine, I'm
right.
like, oh, thank you, and that's a little.
I have to give
To
it
pick
to
me
you,
up.
Tiffany.
Yeah.
I love that about Tiffany because you are out there, and
I'm really not.
but you're not out there like that.
She's like, I'm really not out there.
Right. But you go into the gym and being very comfortable with even flirting. And I don't know, have you ever? I don't know that I'm even comfortable.
Really?
With flirting? Really?
I mean, it has.
It's just
I
a
used
look
to.
and a
I don't
smile.
know. It is a look and a smile, right? But remember,
Yeah.
we've had this conversation that someone told me behind the cameras that I don't even know when someone that she's
Is
like, that
flirting.
person was flirting with you, Tanya. No, he wasn't. She was like, it was so obvious.
Because you're
And
not looking for it.
I'm not looking for it, and I need to get back in the habit because I used to do very well flirting. It was
Yeah.
just very comfortable, but I don't know. The older I've gotten, maybe I just haven't
Yeah.
gotten back into that.
I think
into
you
doing
just
that.
lock in with your focus.
I do.
Yeah.
I'm way too focused probably on career and just everything else outside of me.
Somebody must have been telling you that before.
Right, exactly. But I think it's still okay. So here it is. So you're out there. You're very comfortable flirting. How do you feel like that the dating pool for the late 40s and 50s? Do you feel like, hey, there's some good men out there and there's some potential. I have hope. I see, light at the end of the tunnel. I mean, how do you feel now that you put yourself out there kind of, flirting a little bit, going to events?
Yeah.
Do you feel that there's hope?
So I
For
still.
because I don't feel like
You feel like there's no. The way that you said that, it's like, do you feel like
do
there's
you feel like there's any hope? I mean, really, for anyone out there that
Talk
might
to
be
the hopeless.
frustrated, and I don't mean to sound hopeless, but I mean sometimes it's like, I just want that.
She wants what she wants,
I
right?
want what
Mhm.
I want.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm ready for it. Just like I'm an empty nester. I've been an empty nester now for a couple of years. And so I'm very comfortable now. And even though I just kind of transitioned to a new career, I love it. I'm comfortable. I'm ready to kind of open myself and give, and I'm ready for that.
Do you think that the thing that you're desiring to come into your life is going to come out of your comfort or out of putting yourself in uncomfortable
Good question.
That's a
situation?
really good
That's a very
question.
good question.
Yeah.
Because
That's a very
Because-
good question. Because
Yeah.
I am very, you all know me, I'm very logical. I'm very,
And, you know,
and
Very
I
analytical.
am very analytical, and
Yeah.
that is probably a big part of my problem.
I see black
Yeah.
women at the gym giving no vibes. Like they're just so
Focused.
They're
Yeah.
looking
If
straight
I'm in the gym,
ahead.
yes.
They got this straight face. They not engaging with nobody. They come in there and they
Right.
handling
Let's
their
work it out.
business.
Right.
Like,
That's
It's not a battlefield. I hear,
even with
right?
other women, even if I happen to look at something they're doing, it's like I get a, not a nasty look, but just not an engagement.
Mhm.
And I'm not saying it's us by any means, but it's just something I noticed. And I was just like,
And I guess I take it as when I'm going to the gym, I'm going to work out. I don't want to sit up there and flirt with some man that's potentially married or whatever. I don't want to give the wrong vibe, or that I'm in there trying
you'll
to catch
take
a
that
man.
same
What do you
thing
mean
to the
by-
grocery store and to other environments you go into. So
He would have to make the first. I mean, I think I could potentially,
Tanya, what's the wrong vibe?
that I'm trying to be flirtatious, or he's here trying to work out, and here I am. Here's another female coming in there
that
trying
you're like
to.
an inconvenience.
No, like
that
she's
you
like
are
out there
fine.
trying to
You are
chase.
Yes.
Now I get what you don't want to be coming out like you're thirsty.
Like I'm thirsty.
Yes, yes.
Thirsty
So-
is the worst word they could have put
It is.
on what it meant to just be naturally attracted to someone.
Mhm.
Now we desperate and thirsty. That's crazy.
But I
We
think
used to be
it's-
in our natural selves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't to put yourself out there as available
Right.
to flirt. That's not being thirsty.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
That's being friendly, that's being open, because I'll tell you
Open.
the men,
Mhm.
that's what they're looking for.
They are.
They really don't
Yeah.
want to
I-
approach the
I
lady
agree.
that's looking
I
like
agree.
she's got
They
Yeah.
want
Or
the
knots
warmth.
all around
Yes.
her,
They
right?
want-
And so
I
they
feel
may
like
be attracted
I'm
to
warm
you,
if
but
they
they may not.
smile. I'll
Yes.
smile. It's not like I'm like, oh, I'm always that person that will smile, but I'm never going to, make it a point to.
Well, I think in
I
this
don't
day
know.
and time, especially in our
Yeah.
40s and 50s, the main thing that we're always trying to put on the men is we want them to chase.
Yes.
And so
Yes.
making the first move to
Yeah.
say hello is not chasing the man.
Right. True.
It's just
True.
literally
True.
open a door. And
True.
who knows, you could be meeting a friend, right?
Yeah.
So
True.
I think that a lot of ladies miss out because
You're right.
they don't
You're
want
right.
to
You're right.
quote
And
unquote
we
make
used
the
to
first
do
move.
that in our
Yeah.
teens and 20s. We used to be like so bougie and stuck
Right.
up and waiting on
Right.
Yeah.
And we still doing that, but we ain't
Right.
25 no more.
Right.
And it's
So
not working.
Right.
it ain't working no more. We are not in the club at 25 like, ooh, don't touch my booty,
Right.
you know.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, that's something. I mean, we've talked about this too, going out a little bit more, and just being intentional about that.
Yeah.
Maybe I need to be intentional about going to the gym. But then again, there are women that do that, Tiffany. You're doing that. Do you feel like the dating pool is
No.
open? There's this,
It's so many men.
right?
It is so many men.
Mm-hmm.
I have not met my guy yet,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe I'm blocking him. I will be the first to
Mhm.
admit that it might be me.
Mhm.
Be-
Okay.
I mean, there's a couple places I go, and this one guy, he's so handsome, but I know his mama is somewhere close by. he gotta be
Not
in
his
his
mama.
He gotta be in his 20s. I'm like, yeah,
Oh my
baby.
goodness.
Ooh.
Okay.
But he
okay.
smiles at me and just lights up when he sees me, and it makes me melt. Like where I can't even look at this boy. I'm like, don't be smiling like that.
Yeah.
But it's just cute and it's fun and it's very refreshing. Honestly, it's like, oh,
Yeah, because
hi,
a
young
lot of
man.
a lot of the younger men are going after older women.
They are.
Yeah. And vice versa.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Could you date a younger man?
it might it might
She
be a
seems like she might
revival.
like this one. This one might have a chance.
It's not something that I had formally considered doing. Up until now, like me, a seasoned man.
You don't want to be called a cougar.
The seasoned men are fresh out of their divorces, so and they need a little bit more time.
They are.
So maybe it might be a good strategy
I
to
know,
open
the
up
younger
my
one.
horizons to a younger population.
Well,
I don't know why I'm cracking up, y'all. I'm sorry.
see, and I think the misnomer that we subscribe to is that the men are always telling us that the field is right for them, that there's so many options
Yeah.
for men, but they tell us that we don't have any options
Right.
because it's the 7-to-1 ratio or whatever it
Right.
is right now.
Right.
And so I think that puts women at a disadvantage in our mindset because we're already going
Yes.
out there thinking, well, you know, there's not too many options. So maybe I need to settle, or maybe I need to, you know, lower my standards and all the things because
They
we
do.
think that
Yeah.
the pool is not right for us. But
And I told my
don't.
financial advisor, I said, I don't subscribe to this system of scarcity. I
Correct.
said,
There you
there
go.
are kingdom economics at play, and
Right.
God can raise him up at any time.
That's right.
Mhm.
So all I need to do is just keep being in position
That's
and
right.
prepared to
Yes.
receive.
Yes.
Because we're really here to receive anyway. Everything that God has for us is already planned for what he has for us.
That's
so
right.
the point is to be open and ready
Right.
and our hands open for him to
Right.
give it to us.
And we believe
Yeah.
God can do all these other things in our lives, right?
Yeah.
In every
Yeah.
other area.
Mhm.
But when we think about the ratio of men to women, I mean, it kind of is scary. But if you really believe and have faith in God, then He is going to
but
make
look
sure
at the
and
ones
see
that
you
have
through
it.
there.
Why would they have it and you not have it?
Absolutely, because if
Exactly.
God is abundant,
That's right.
he's abundant in all things,
Yeah,
not just a few things.
that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
But let's just be real. Reality is sometimes it's very difficult to
Obtain.
see that and
Yeah.
wait. You know, I mean, we have faith. He's going to see me through for this career. He's going to see me through for this particular event in my life.
Mhm.
But just out here dating in your late 40s and 50s, sometimes that's very hard to see and visualize just because of our experiences. And it is frustrating. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I'm very comfortable at this point in my life. Would I love to have that best friend and that companionship? Yes. Could I be like some women? You know,
What do you want, Tanya? What do you want in a man? What exactly do you want? Do you know? Because I think it's important to know what you want.
I do.
Okay.
I do know what I want, but I don't.
Speak it, girl. Speak it.
But I don't. But I mean, I'm just gonna be real. I mean, I'm probably fixated in my mind on someone that comes to mind,
Oh, okay.
Okay.
and I have that particular vision of what I want in someone, and maybe that's blocking me from. Other
He just
people.
might be the prototype, but I
Yes.
think if you say what you want, it could be another model of what you want.
And I think we have to be open. Well, maybe that's true.
I
That's
want him
true.
to be handsome.
Look at her eyes light up.
right.
I want him to be intelligent. I want him to be manly. Like I want him to growl when he sees me. It's something about and I hate using femininity and masculinity so much because it's so subjective now. And some people use it in an oppressive way. So I don't want to say I want him to be masculine, obviously, though I think that's understood. But I want him to just know who he is in the world. I want to make sure that we follow the same codes, meaning God is important to him, family is important to him, I'm important to him, and us building together is important. And
And we've met.
I
and
want to
you've
have
met
great
some
sex with him.
and you
Like
wanna have great
that's
sex.
important to me. Like
Right.
seriously, I think
Now
it's
that
okay
is
to say
important. It is
it's
important.
very important. If sex is not that important to him, or he don't like affection, or he's kind of not in his, whatever, I can't do it.
Yeah.
Can you do that with someone that has all of that,
Yeah.
but he's not really ready for commitment.
That's a good
Ooh,
question.
that's a great
Because
question.
a season ago, the answer would be no. Because I feel that I oxytocin bond very well. I'm not just dopamine driven. And if you don't bond back, that puts me in a position that leaves me kind of vulnerable, where I feel like I'm gonna get my heart broken.
Right.
So I've learned to like kind of not be so quick to jump into that. But maybe if we develop a friendship first and get to know each other, that's a different kind of bonding. I just have to take a different approach. I can't jump in with people and expect them to know how to love me.
But I do have a question to follow up with your question, though,
Yeah.
because when you say not ready for commitment, because it sounds like you want commitment.
I do.
So if someone comes in your life and they say,
Yeah.
well, I don't want commitment, I think that's a mistake that a lot of us make, because I've made it over and over and over again, where someone may say, well, I'm not ready for a relationship. And then here comes the, let's just see where this goes.
Right.
Let's have a friendship first.
Right.
But there's no promise, right? And so
Right.
what ends up happening is we get in these relationships and we think, okay, if I perform well enough,
Ooh.
Right.
then-
And that's-
and I hate
yes.
to use that word, but that's
Might be the baddest.
yes. If I'm wifey, right? If I show him I'm wifey material,
Yeah.
he'll choose me.
Yeah.
He'll change his mind. When in fact we don't even know
Right.
if that's even a goal for him.
Right.
Yeah.
To me, sometimes he's buying time
Yes.
so he can
Yes.
enjoy the fruits of your labor.
Wow.
Right, but the thing
Yes.
about it, it's not even
And
that
that's
we
not
want
wrong.
marriage. And it's not even that you want marriage. Is there anything? Because I'm at the point in my life, I don't know if I want to get married again, but I do want a lifelong partner. Is that so much to ask? I mean, there's so look. I feel like there's
No,
so
baby.
much going around out there. Like I don't like this. And I understand there are people out there that say date and go out here, and I know you don't have to have sex with every one of them.
Right.
But I'm just looking for that life partner with, yes, sex. Of course, you want the wonderful sex and the friendship, and I want an intelligent man. And I mean, all of that is okay. I'm just like, yes.
You're doing your own
I
dance.
want all of that, but I just feel like he hasn't
Emerge.
emerged.
So I have a question.
He will.
How do you know? How will you identify him? How will you know if he comes
Mm-hmm.
face to face with you? How do you know?
I think that there is that. First of all, I mean, we're talking about great sex, but for me, that attraction, I think it's the conversation, because I feel like women are very emotional, so there has to be that emotional connection first. I just think in the conversation, he has to be a godly man. And then there are certain things he has to fit the puzzle piece. I'm at a, we're all at a certain place in our lives now, right? Where they
get what
have
you're
to
saying.
fit where we are. And I have to fit where he is, right? The puzzles just have to fit.
Yeah.
And I think I'll know it when he comes. And I think he'll know it when, I'm there.
And I think that's key
Yes.
too, because oftentimes we choose people that don't choose us.
Yes.
Right? So
Yes.
they may
Mhm.
like us and want to hang out and want to do things, but are they really choosing you? And I think for me, who I do want a committed relationship, I've been married before as well, but I do want marriage. But I want someone who is going to authentically choose me.
Yes.
I don't want to have to dance for him to choose me.
Right.
Yeah.
Why is it that the ones that choose us, we don't?
I don't know.
Ooh.
I don't know. Because there are some
Like,
good
seriously.
men out there, and they're the right men for someone else, but
Right.
they're just
Ew.
not.
Are you in agreement with me?
Why for somebody else?
What'd you say? What'd you say?
Why for someone else?
Because they're not fitting my puzzle piece. They're not
Oh,
fitting.
okay,
We
okay.
talked about how I really look for someone that challenges me. For so long too, because we are nurturers. I was used to picking. I want to make you better. And I want to do this, and that's kind of who I was connecting with until recently. It's like I want someone to challenge me, teach me something new. That's sexy to me.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I'm
Okay,
like,
so
okay,
the intellectual
teach
guy.
me
Okay.
something. You know what I'm saying? Hey, but that's just like a turn on, right?
Yeah.
And that's what I think I'm gonna have men like Tanya trying to talk, but anyway.
I do not want
yeah.
another challenge.
You don't want a challenge?
I don't want a
love
challenge. He's
challenge.
going to already have his own life experiences, so I'm going to
Yeah.
learn from him anyway. I don't need him challenging me.
Not, but challenging you something
My
you
daddy
don't know.
is gone.
Something you don't know. When I say challenge, I mean just like we were talking about financial, with everything going on today.
But I'm
There's so
already
much I
my
don't
own
know.
woman. I
But
don't
there's so
need a
much I
challenge
don't
from my man.
know.
I want him to bring ease. I want him to bring softness.
He can bring ease.
I
and
want to
softness
go
and
deeper
something
into-
different.
Well, I think that I've had challenging men, and I'm done. I'm
You're done with
graduating
challenging
from my
men.
PhD.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't.
You want
looking
easy
for
like
that
Sunday
emotional-
morning.
I am.
Yeah, it seems like you're looking for more of an emotion, and I think it's because I'm so logical and analytical,
And that's cool.
my
I get that. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think that's just my groove, and I see you're wanting that other type of I don't know what type of connection.
Come
but-
in, baby, and do whatever you want, and let me just.
right? And I want that too, but
Let
I
me
also
marinate some
want-
chicken.
Yeah. Are we going too deep out here? Kim is like, I would never come on Black Coffee Conversations again in my life.
I don't
I'm
cook because
perfectly
I'm
fine. I
on
love
the
this.
edge.
Right.
I want to marinate something. I want to start a little garden.
But
I just want
yes.
to have I feel like the right man will give me more capacity to explore my pleasures, to really get into those things. I don't have to be so tight like this independent woman that I am, you
Yes.
know.
Yeah,
He
so
should come in and offer that.
so what you're saying is you want someone who appreciates who you are
Yeah.
and not try to mold and shape and make you
Oh,
into
no.
something else, right? So,
But you're beautiful.
but you want
Yeah.
challenges. So you want someone to help elevate you.
Right. Or teach me something new. I feel like that's very sexy.
Okay.
To
So
me,
you're
that's a turn
stimulated in
on.
your
I'm
mind.
stimulated when you can
Yeah.
really,
Mhm.
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
So
But
you
you
want
know that-
the mind stimulation, you want the emotional stimulation.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's you just said
Yeah.
it exactly. Yeah. I'm really turned on by
Yeah.
what you can kind of teach me.
But
But
you
here
ain't
we
gotta
are.
talk too much.
That's gonna be a turn off for her. Don't talk at all.
Don't talk at all.
You know, we can talk.
just look
boo.
good.
That's what you feel like saying. Just don't say anything.
We can
right.
chit chat sometimes.
Right. But okay, here we are. You're beautiful. You're intelligent. You're beautiful. You're intelligent. Both of you doctors. Why are you single? Why has that right person he has not shown up yet?
You want to go first?
You can go first if you
Oh,
like it.
okay.
And I'll eat
I
a
do
cookie
have
while
an
y'all
answer,
explain.
yeah.
Okay.
You
I think the right person has shown up in different versions of me.
Mhm.
So there was a right person for a season that I was in, but he was a lesson. There was somebody that was a healing season after the lesson. He was an angel. None of those things were meant to last. And for whatever reason, because I'm terrified of divorce. I don't know why. It's always been a phobia. I've never been quick to jump into a proposal or,
That's good,
Yeah,
though.
that
But-
is good.
I think that there are right people for this season too. And I just think that God is in the details. God is in the timing. I can't dictate when those things are going to come together for me, but I do know that it's there and available. I don't know if I answered your question.
You did. You did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
For me, wrong choices. So nothing against the gentleman that I have dated or anyone that I have been previously married to, but for me, it has been choosing from my trauma, choosing from unhealed spaces, choosing the same person, like I said, in a different package. And I think also not being in a space where I realize that God is enough. Because I think that you have to get to that space where, number one, you know that God is enough. Number two, that you know that you are enough, where you are safe, secure, satisfied in those two factors before you meet someone and are able to navigate a relationship. Because I believe that's the number one reason why I haven't met the right person, because I don't think I have been the right person. in times
Wow.
past. Yeah. So not to put myself down, because yes, all the things that you said, thank you, and I know that I have a lot to bring to the table, but I have not always been good at showing up for myself. And until you get to that place where you can show up well for yourself, and until you get to that place
That's
where
so good.
you are sure enough secure in God, then you're not going to find that right person, because that right person is not going to be attracted to you.
Ooh,
That
oh,
is a good way, I have to say, to wrap it up. Because ultimately it is about us. Also that relationship with God. And even though the fleshly, we talked about the great sex and all these other characteristics and traits that we want.
Yeah.
We really have to think about us, making sure that we're healing, we're growing, we're reflecting on our past relationships, and definitely keeping God in the forefront.
Because one thing I've learned is that I am great in a relationship. I mean, I know how to treat a man. I know how to build him up anywhere I know how to accept him for who he is.
Yeah.
I know how to love properly. I know all of those things. But did I ever do that for Kim? Right? And so that's where, and number one, and you have to do that, in your relationship with God too. He needs your attention too. He's not going to allow us to have a demigod on earth.
He sure won't.
Right.
That's exactly right.
So,
He sure won't.
And on that note, we are going to wrap it up. Thank you so much for joining Black Coffee Conversations. Remember to like, share, subscribe. We'll see you next time.
Peace.